Hello, I'm Elizabeth Nancy Jansen, and today is day 21 of 22 Days of Truths in preparation for my book launch, Bride Doll. And yes, we are getting closer to that book launch, and it's been quite a journey, not only for writing the book, but doing these 22 Days of Truths. It's been quite a little feat for me to do this once again, this exercise of quite a little loving review of the book and why I really wrote this, why I went through the process of writing this beautiful love journey, not only for my readers but for myself, to this expression of creativity, but this work of love for my expression of self, this story, and how I wanted to share it with you. And I hope you love it. I really do. And the people who have read this book, who I've shared this book with throughout the course of writing it, and who have read it on their ebook, and the people who have reviewed the book and have rated it 5 stars so far, I'm really thrilled that it's touched so many people's hearts and, brought tears to their eyes, tears of, you know, enlightenment, and it struck chords with them. People have identified with it, and also tears of sadness, but overwhelming joy. And there's so many things in this book, and I hope you're as thrilled with it as I am, and hopefully you can find a lot in it, not only of love but of life experience that you can relate to as well. And today's topic is I Can Go the Distance. And when I was thinking of what I was going to speak of, this song popped into my head. And I have children, and there's this who've watched a lot of Disney movies. And, having a son with autism, one of his things, and like many people with autism, children with autism, they, for whatever reason, gravitate toward Disney movies. And my son has watched repeatedly over and over Disney movies, and one of them was Hercules. And I kid you not, I must have seen this movie 200 times. So this lyrics came into my head today, and it was out of the Hercules movie, and it kind of came into my head while I was thinking about what would I be speaking of today, and it was I Can Go the Distance. So, destiny or the universe speaking to me, and the lyrics in that song are really compelling. And here's a bit of the lyrics here. I'll be there someday, I can go the distance. I will find my way if I can be strong. I know every mile would be worth my while. When I go the distance, I'll be right where I belong. And, that's so true of Naya. She had to go the distance, and she wanted to. She knew that there was so much more for her if she kept going the distance. This woman would not give up. She would not just fold in her hand of cards. She was always willing and wanting to go on, to go on. There was so much more to life. She was not willing to give up. And here, down an unknown road to embrace my fate, though that road may wander, it will lead me to you. And 1,000 years would be worth the wait It might take a lifetime, but somehow I'll see it through. And I won't look back. I can go the distance, and I'll stay on track. No, I won't accept defeat. No, Naya wouldn't accept defeat. It's an uphill slope. It certainly was. But I won't lose hope till I go the distance. And my journey is complete. Oh, yeah. Like a shooting star, I will go the distance. I will search the world. I will face its harm. I don't care how far. I will go the distance till I find my hero's welcome waiting in your arms. So, Naya will feel like a hero. It'll be worth all of her efforts when she finds her true love. And, not that, almost like as a young child, she believed in the fantasy, which was the fantasy, but she did fundamentally believe in true love. It started as a child's fantasy, but she believed in all her heart that true love was possible. Why was it possible for Naya? Because she believed that she loved with all her heart, and she wanted to find someone who would love her with all her heart. That was her dream, her willingness, her determination to find that. It had to exist. It existed in her. It had to exist in someone else. And she was going to search for it until she found it. And, she didn't expect other people to have the same wish, desire, that purpose. And she wanted this for herself. And she was willing to go to any length to get it. Just like how she managed her life. So, with Monique, she had the same passion about love. She had absolutely the same passion. But she had a hard time with having balance in her life. A very hard time with that. But Naya, she had the determination, and she had the life skills. Not all of it did she have at the same time, but she was determined to get her feet under her and sort that out so that she could manage as a single parent and get on with her life, and then sort out having fun, sort out being independent, and getting on with it and being successful within herself and within managing and loving her children as a single parent, and forgetting about, okay, you, Simon, are not my forever person. Goodbye. And, moving on. And then, falling in love again, but not having aligned properly. She had to learn again. She made mistakes again. She didn't get it right. So she had to learn lessons again. But she did fall in love. So she was on the path of looking for love and did fall in love, but she didn't get it right in that she went too quickly for one reason, and she did not partner in that the partner did not have the same passion for her. He didn't have the same, I will move mountains for you. She had the feeling that he would find it, she would teach him how to do that. She would teach him how to do that. Well, it doesn't work. If he can't do it by himself, she can't fix that. So she had to learn that lesson. But when there's a part in that in that marriage in the book that I wanted to point out to you, which was a beautiful part in that marriage. And it was a hard part. And it's one that we haven't discussed in all the truths. But this is a truth of real love and of real strength and of a little voice within the book. And it's on page 154. And it's in the chapter that it's called The Apgar of One. And if you don't know what the word Apgar is, it's a medical term, and it's used to grade the strength of a newborn. And there are 10 points in it. And 10 means very healthy, the baby's breathing well, and the color is pink, essentially, for a Caucasian baby. But for other babies, like all the vital signs, breathing, color is good, everything else is, all the limbs are moving, everything is top-notch, perfect, 10. But this baby, the Apgar, was 1, so vital signs are at the poorest, okay? And so I'm just going to give you a paragraph here. So once the baby's head was engaged in the birth canal, the delivery was quick. With her guilt-ridden thoughts swirling in her head, all that Naya could hear was, Apgar of One. A nurse handed the tiny pink babe to Naya, a beautiful baby boy. His head moved gently to and fro as he found comfort settling in the palm of her hand. So this baby was only 21 weeks old, so very premature, not viable, but pink and breathing. In a short time, his tiny cry noises turned to an even fainter whimper, while his color changed from pinkish to a deeper blue, and his last breath faded forever. Naya's heart wrenched, sobbing, engulfing the room. An hour passed, and a somber nurse appeared with a tiny basket. She gently took the baby from Naya's hands and wrapped him in a small white cloth and placed him in a basket. After one final kiss, he was gone forever. Such a brief time of being, was it worth the immense pain and heartbreak? Absolutely, was her unshakable answer to herself. She didn't regret trying to hold on to the pregnancy. She put it in God's hands, albeit hoping for a different outcome. Naya was not angry with God, the NICU doctor, Fernando, or herself. Anger had no place in her grieving heart. Naya had rightly or wrongly realized her little baby boy traveled his whole lifetime in 5 minutes. In that time, and she had named him David, felt his mother's great love for him by the warm touch of her lips as she tenderly and repeatedly kissed him while he just fit in the palm of her hands. His tiny 252-gram body looked every bit like a newborn with 10 little fingers and 10 little toes. Felt his warm tears splash on his tiny chest. Naya imagined they must have felt like sea waves on his tiny small body. Despite this, David's spirit rallied with all his might to breathe and reach for his mother's face, so warm and wet with grief. The reason why I wanted to tell you about this bit in the book is that, the strength and the determination of this little baby, this in the book is a reflection of, even though such a short time of this little life, the strength and the determination was a reflection of Naya's. Her own baby didn't give up, just like she didn't give up. And unfortunately, the baby was too small to resuscitate. That's what the doctors told her. And they wouldn't resuscitate the baby. But here the baby was breathing for 5 minutes on its own. And she could only hold it and comfort it. And she held that baby in joy and was so, that was part of her journey. And yet in wholehearted loving, that was part of her journey. And going forward, that was hard, but still going forward, she believed in love. And in that marriage with Fernando, she took that in stride. And then following that, 2 more children, and one of those, the next son with autism, and that really took her down. And we know where that took her, to self-medicating with alcohol. So she still had to go the distance. And even though she fell so hard down, she had to get up. And that was so hard to do. But she did it. And she climbed and she climbed. And she got up. And the rest of the book, like, you have to see that this woman climbed to where she blossomed. She got to the top of her mountain. If there was a female version of Hercules, that's got to be Naya. She got to that place of feeling, so beautiful inside. And she got into the arms of her Arjan. And together, they feel so triumphantly in love. And not in a cocky, arrogant way, but in a celebrating way, to celebrate together. And even in their senior years, to be so happy and to see a full life, what they call in the dessert of their lives, to be so happy. To go the distance, that's a wonderful thing. And this is a beautiful story. And maybe you can relate to that in your own life. And I hope you can. So going the distance is a good way for day 21 in the truths. And this has been a real journey of writing this beautiful book. And a lot of it I did in France. And I perhaps didn't tell you much about where I wrote this book. And it was in a beautiful chateau in Orcovaux, France. And I had this beautiful experience with a group of people and a writing coach. And her name was April Bossard. And the participants at Orcovaux, they were from England, US, Canada, Australia, Switzerland. I'm forgetting some other places. And India. I'm going to forget. But it was gorgeous. And we had fine dining every day. Everything was right out of the garden. And in the morning, we had fresh croissants. And the chef prepared these amazing meals. And I would go into the kitchen and watch the chef prepare the food, and there were chickens right on the property. Oh, it was gorgeous, and I just could go on and on about this beautiful place where I would write most of the day, and it was just a wonderful experience. And I still keep in touch with these individuals. So I guess that's a lot for day 21, but much love, and I know I can go the distance, and I am this wonderful person. I do very much love the woman I am today, and I have gone the distance, and I continue to go. I will continue to go to the distance, and tomorrow is day 22, and I've got something really good in store for you too. Much love from me, Elizabeth Nancy Jansen. Bye.